Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel Data Tech. I'm your host Anand Kumar. In this video, we will do the demo of AWS Glue concept with a simple ETL pipeline. To build the pipeline, we assume a business scenario. So in this business scenario, we are getting customer API data from a dating app, which is stored in a CSV format in S3 bucket. Our task here is to create a customer dimension dataset that include essential customer information such as user ID, age, what kind of gender they're interested in, language, etc. So let's log into the AWS Management Console and look into the our dataset and the AWS concepts. Okay, let me go. So once you log into the AWS Management Console, go to here, let me show you the datasets. So we go to S3, and in S3, in this bucket, we have two objects, two prefix, raw data and transform data. In raw data, we have this the user API data, like the user data from the dating app. And this data look like something like this. Let me explore. So in this data, you will find like a lot of information which is related to what kind of gender they're looking into, age, name of the customer. One second, let me maximize this. So yeah, like count details, pictures counts, profile widget counts, kisses counts, that could be a feature, fans, a lot of information here. What city they belong, country, distance, and like various flags here. And then after that, like what kind of language they speak. So if it's a like a language, like if it's like for example French, so they're using a Boolean, like whether they speak French or not, English, similar to other languages. Verified, a lot of, like as I said, like it have bunch of information. But we have to create a customer dimension with like limited number of customer essential informations. Okay, so let's go to our, so let's now go to Glue. So search for Glue here. Okay, once you search for Glue, like your screen, something look like this. So to begin, as I mentioned in the last video, AWS Glue have two important components. One is the data catalog, and the second one is the data integration, or ETL, or we can say ETL. So we can see here, like these are you can think as like bookmarks, but these features belong to these two categories, and there's some legacy page too. And to begin with our use case, we first start by cataloging that customer API data from S3 into our data catalog. And within our data catalog, we have three things, three important components: database, tables, and crawlers. And to proceed, we will create a new data set. So I already have one data set, so we'll create a new data set. Let's name it dating, or let's make it simple. I'm just using Tinder or DB. Okay, rest of the things are optional, so I'll create a data. One second. Okay, so it has to be in lowercase, my bad. We do this. Awesome. So we go into this data set, there is no table here. So we will utilize the crawler to create the table with the metadata in this database. So we will create a new crawler which will crawl over that S3 bucket and create a table here. Okay, so let's create a new crawler. So to create a crawler, navigate to crawlers, click on this create crawler, give it a name. So we'll give it a name, Tinder crawler, or let me make it simple. We name it as crawler 1. Okay, I'm just it's not a good naming convention, but I'm for like just for demo purposes I'm using this. We click next, and here it's asking like whether you already mapped the data to the Glue tables or no. Not yet. We'll add a data source. So our data source is S3, but it can connect to other various sources like JDBC, DynamoDB, MongoDB, DocumentDB, Delta Lake, and all. So let's go here. We need not to add a connection because that's not required. It's in the same account. So we'll browse to the S3 bucket. So I hope this is the one. Yeah, I guess this is the one. We go here, we go into raw data, we select this, choose. So we select the S3 file, we click here, that is done. And then we click on this, add an S3 data source. Okay, we do next. Okay, so the next thing is we need to select a role. So I already created a role, I'll select that, but it's basically setting up the appropriate roles for Glue to enable its crawling on the S3 bucket. And for this we need basically two roles. Let me show you that very quickly. Let me copy paste this. I just don't want to lose this. Let me here. So if we go here, let me search for IAM. Go to IAM service. Like you can create a new role from here only. Click on this, create a new roles. We can do that too, but okay, let's do that. I already have create. Okay, let me cancel this. Go here. That's the better way to do it. We go into roles. So I already have this role, but like to create a new role, click here, create a role. Select the AWS service. So we select here. Let's type it Glue. Select Glue. Next. And now we select the policy. So we need two policies here. Let's give it, the one is the Glue service role. Let me type this. Glue. So we need this policy, and we also need like something for S3. So let me type S3 search, remove this and search for this. So we'll give the full access. So we need at least these two roles, but depending on like these two policies in your role, but depending on what you doing, it can vary. So next we do this, give the role name. So I'll give it like, for example, Glue S3 crawler, something like this. Then click next. As you can see, we have two policies here. One is AWS Glue service and Amazon S3. Click on create role. So this will create the role, and I already have it, so I'll select that. We click on, now back to our crawler. So we select the role, click on this next, choose the database. So we created a new database. We'll go with this, and you remember we don't have any table here. So let's for frequency we'll keep it on demand and do next, and let's create the crawler. So once the crawler is created, just click here and refresh this. You will see the crawler here, and if you want to run it, just click on this, run. And depending on like how big is your data set, like it takes some time depending on like how big is your data set and what kind of data set is it. So you can see it's still like it's starting. If we refresh this, it will show. One second, sorry, still running, and it will take, I'll say, good a minute or so. Once that crawler is completed, we will see the table, in our in our table section. So let's go to database. I already have a like an existing database where I'm crawling the same table. So we'll go here, and I just want to show, if you click on this, you will see all that information here, like what kind of file is this, what type of data in it. So you can see all the fields are here, and this is a big data sets because it's coming from API. So you can see it have more close to 60, I guess, 60 fields. Let me check, 40 and 42 fields. Okay, so you will see something like this. Let's go back and see if crawler is completed or not. It's still running, but once it's done, as I said, like if you go to this database, once it's done, oh, looks like it's done. So you can see we have a new table here. So this in Tinder database, we didn't have any table. Once the crawler is finished, once the crawler ran, it created a new table. I'm not 100% sure if crawler is finished, because here it shows still running. Yeah, it says stopping. It means it's in the final state. Okay, give it a couple of seconds, or we can go and check the table. So if we go here, database, Tinder database, click on this, you will find the same number of the schema metadata of the table is populated here. We can check all 42 columns are here. So once the data is cataloged, the next thing we want to create a dimension table. So for that, we go to our ETL and click on ETL jobs. Okay, so as I mentioned in the last video, Glue provides various ways to create a job. So we can, using a visual editor, we can write a Spark script, Python, Jupyter Notebook, and the new is Ray script editor. I haven't tried it, but to keep it simple, we will start with with a visual example. So and the other thing is, when we are doing something with a visual, it doesn't mean it's not creating I'm going to show it's still going to create a Spark script for us. But for anybody who's coming from a business analytics background, or it's not somebody who is very hardcore on programming and coding, for those people it's very handy. And even for data engineers, it could be a useful thing. If they want to do certain existing transformations for them, they can use this. So for this, I'll click this one, click on create, and here you will see, let me first name this, I'll name it as custom. Okay, awesome. So once we have that, we click on this add button. So our sources, it have transformations and data. They're these on the top. You will see the popular ones, the popular activities which you do. So S3 is there, or whatever, S3 data source and transform. It's a popular transform and data things are here. But if you don't find what you're looking for, just scroll down and you will find all this information. Let me see if I can expand. One second, minimize this, and you can see here transform. We have so many built-in transform capabilities here, which is very handy. And the second is data. So they're bunch, as I said, Glue can connect to various data stores. So you can see we can connect to catalog, S3, Kinesis, Kafka, S3 various relational databases, Oracle, and all those. And same and these are a source, and same things for the target, where we want to store once our transformation done, where we want to store we want to store it back to a catalog, S3, Redshift, traditional databases, even like Microsoft SQL Server, Azure SQL Server is there, Snowflake. Like these are the target options are available here too. So for in our case, our source is S3 and our target is also S3. Okay, so let's click on the popular one. I'll add this. Okay, so 1 second, sorry, I double clicked on it 2 times. So I select this node and I provide this information. So for S3, we already have, like, there are 2 ways. Like if we have cataloged it, we can go from there, or we can directly pull it from the S3 location. But we'll go to the data catalog. Click on this. Okay, choose the database. We are talking about into database, and the table name is this. And you see there was an error, but it will check, and the job is not saved to, but we still doing things. So okay, so here for S3, you can see once you run your crawler using the like once you catalog your data, you can pick it from there, or if you don't want to do it, you can do directly from S3 too. Now let's click on output schema, and you will find all those things which we which are available in that CSV file. It's here. So next thing we have to, let's just add a SQL query. Okay, 1 second, let me do this. Okay, so in this SQL query, basically whatever is the output of this will be fed into the SQL query, and you can look into this. This is a very select star from my data source. So data sources and aliases of like whatever is coming out of Amazon S3. So what we can do for that is basically I have a very simple script. Let me copy paste this. Copy. Yeah, because I'll paste it here. Okay, so let me explain it very quickly. It's here we basically pulling out only those information which are like essential user information, like user ID, name, gender they're looking for, age, and then we using a simple case when statement just to creating a one field for the language, and last online time. Okay, nothing complex here, it's pretty straightforward. Now we will add another data source as a target. So here if you click on this is Amazon S3 as a source, so we don't need another source. What we'll do, we'll go click on targets, like we click on data, then targets, select S3. So this S3 comes here, and because we going step by step, so it's automatically okay what is the parent node. But if you want, we can have like various transformations and another parent node. And here it's just what's the parents node, what format we want to store it, where we want to store it. So we'll do browse, and we want to store it in this folder, like this bucket, and rest of the things we'll keep pretty same. And we go to job details after this. Let's do one thing very quickly. I just want to explain like what are the job details. So if you remember when I was explaining, like whenever AWS do some transformation or running any job, like it spin up like Spark clusters, and once job is done, it steer it down. So this is what I mean here. Like basically this is the like name of the job, role we have to pick. So we can pick any of these roles. This is the same role which we created. Then like what type of job it is, like a Spark job, then which version we want to run it. So we have multiple versions, like a Glue 2, 3, 4, and in that basically like a different version of Spark, Scala, or Python is used. So we running a simple one, so we can pick Spark 2.0 language, Python language, and then the same thing is like what kind of worker nodes we need. So it's not a very heavy job, it's a simple one, so we'll stick to the basic. And number of workers, we don't need 10, we can reduce it to 2, and rest of the things like we can have like number of retries, like how many, like if our job fails, how many times we want to retry, job timeout, like when go for a retry or send a failure notification. So we have that too. And in advanced property, this is more about like where our files, our logs, and all those things will store. And we keep everything to default. Okay, and let's click on visual one more time. For job details, we just made a couple of changes, like we reduces the glue version and the number of workers, just to keep it, because we are not running a very heavy job. The second thing I was initially I mentioned about the script. So there's the beauty of even like doing things with visualization. It will generate a script for us, and this is like automatic script. Whatever we're doing, this is a Spark script for that. And once like everything is set, we save the job. Okay, once the job is saved, let me go back here. I want to show where you can see. You click on ETL jobs, and if you see here, we have 2 jobs. Okay, and if you want to run it, just click on this, run the job, click on this, run job. But that's like a on-demand kind of things, like for a demo and all. But if you want to schedule it, then we have to create, like go on trigger, we have to create a trigger. I have a test trigger basically, which is on demand too. Like basically you click on this, give the trigger name and what kind of trigger and you attach this to, like whether you want it on demand, schedule, or it could be like a event based on that. Create the event and attach it to job. Let's go to the job. For this demo, we will run the job manually. This is our job. Click on run job, and let's refresh. Let me click on run. One second, let me check if the first one is yeah, still running. Yeah, sometimes this is a problem, like when you're doing on demand and you click on something, you're not sure like if it's running or it's not running. So it might take I'll say a minute or so, but in the meantime we will keep refreshing it. Once this is done, or in the meantime I'll go to S3 and see, because this job supposed to populate that transform folder with the transform this prefix with the custom data set, and that will be in a JSON format. So still nothing here, but let's do refresh this. Yeah, it's over a minute. Still running. And it succeeded. And if we go here, let's do the, one second, let's refresh it, or let's do one thing, go back, come here. Did we store it here or somewhere else? This is good. Okay, refresh. If you refresh, we see like a file here, and let's download this file and see what we have in it. Okay, let me open. Okay, let me open this. I'm not sure in which editor it will open, but okay, Notepad or Sublime. Sublime should be a better choice. Cancel, make it to JSON. Oh, sorry. And you can see we have all the fields which we were looking. And let me go back to ours here, like just to show you like what we did in the job one more time. Click on this custom. Let me close this. So if you look at this, we basically like if we click on the transform one, I just want to, so here we have only these fields. Let me go there, like a user ID, sorry, my bad, let me, like a user ID, name, gender, gender looking, age, same thing, user ID, name, gender looking, and the language we use a case when to convert it into like a one field, and then last login time, and it's a JSON format, that's why we're seeing it. So that's all for this video, and this is like a simple ETL pipeline we created in AWS Glue.